How to text girls. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the biggest challenge, the biggest, most obvious challenge that has changed in the last 10 years or so is the advent of social media. So back in the day, texting used to be something that didn't need to be that complicated. However, nowadays, as you may or may not be aware, girls or women are being bombarded with social media messages from every single direction. With the advent of the internet, Instagram, YouTube, etc., you name it, girls are constantly being bombarded with whether it's DMs from guys on Instagram, and then you've got Tinder, you've got all kinds of applications that for a girl is creating a lot of noise. Now, if you meet a girl, it's very, very important that your texting enables you to rise above that noise so that you can be her center of attention, or to put it in sales marketing terms, so you can retain top of mind awareness. So if you meet a girl in real life, for that brief period of time, you will most likely have her top of mind awareness. Whilst you're the person that she's talking to, she's focused on you. And then if you exchange contact information, what will happen over time if you two don't speak to each other is that you might lose that top of mind awareness. So texting or communication in between when you meet her to in between when you meet her again, i.e. the date, is how you maintain her attention. Now, a lot of guys begrudge texting. They wish they didn't have to text. They see it as an annoying flaw of the modern world, but I want to give you guys a little reframe for that. Texting is the modern version of writing love letters, or is the modern version of the written word as it's designed to romance women. The written word has always been a key part of romancing women for as long as both genders have been able to read and write. And we know this is true because, of course, we have people like Shakespeare. Most songs written are love songs. We have love letters. The written word for hundreds of years has been an incredibly powerful tool if you know how to utilize it. And this is something that men were actually taught back in the day, how to write captivating love letters. They were actually taught how to do their version of texting, which is funny if you think about it, because nowadays most guys don't have a clue. Which is unfortunate because the guys that do get it can get ahead real quick, and the guys that don't get it fall behind. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share one live interaction that I had with a girl, and I'm going to show you how I was able to move that forwards, and I'm going to cover a few of the basic points that I did in order to move that forwards. So without further ado, enjoy the video. So here's one girl that I met in the mall, and I remember she kind of checked me out a few times, and I wasn't sure if she was checking me out because she was giving me like a really funny look, like the look an annoyed granny gives you when she sees you messing around in her garden. But I thought, well, she did look at me 3 times and she was pretty cute. So we had a chat and a good conversation ensued. We ended up hitting it off, discovered a range of topics. So my first message to her, so it turns out she's twerking as a type of dance, right? So I asked her if she could do slut drops and fun chatting. So my opening message was fun chatting with you. Let me know when you've Googled the slut drop, lol. And the purpose of me sending that message is to re-establish banter, and is to re-establish the way that both of us felt when we were talking to each other. It was a common theme. I explained to her that my Colombian housemates taught me how to do twerking and slut drops, and so we kind of connected a little bit over this. So let me know when you've Googled the slut drop, lol, wink. It's a playful flirt. Even though I said the word slut, it's something we'd already okayed in the conversation, so I wasn't being sexually overt. So here is why being sexually overt, i.e. being openly communicative with girls about sex, is not a good idea. I thought it was important to mention in the video. All women have a sexual reputation. The worst thing a woman can ever be called is a slut. And when you are sexually overt, i.e. you talk openly about sex with her on the date, or when you meet her, you're communicating to her that you don't have the skills required to protect her sexual reputation. This is why any kind of sexual discussion ideally should always be accidentally referred to in innuendo, or as if you've got the wrong end of a joke, or as if she's implied it. It's absolutely putting your foot in the mud and probably cancelling any chance you have of being sexually successful in an interaction with any woman if you're sexually overt. A lot of guys will attempt to be sexually overt to normalize talking with girls about sex. I can understand the reasoning behind that, but in practical reality, the amount of guys I've seen screw up good dates by, I'm talking about when I've gone on double dates with guys and they've screwed up dates by talking openly about sex. The potential risks outweigh the potential rewards. I'm not saying it can never work, but in my experience, being sexually overt, communicating about sex directly never works. So don't do it. All right. Don't, at least not until you've been sexually intimate with a girl. And then you can talk about sex, because it's also a game. Every time that you're seducing women, it's a game. Will it happen? Won't it happen? If the girl knows she can sleep with you, and that's kind of more obvious if you're talking about sex all the time, then it's not a game for her. You don't seem like a prize to be won. She's going to lose attraction. So save talking about sex openly until you slept with a girl. All right, back to the video. Sexually overt, which is a big mistake guys will make. A big mistake guys will make is being sexually overt in their opening text. The perfect opening text will have flirting, but not sexually overt flirting in it. That was a good opening message. And then I also felt like she was a Gemini when we were talking. So I asked her if she was a Gemini. And she wasn't, but she would have been born a Gemini had she not been born like 1 month premature or something like that. So I said, P.S. funny you would have been born Gemini, as you gave me serious Gemini vibes. Again, recalling the way that she felt and the way that I felt in our conversation together. She's reminded when she reads that of the conversation. So then we go on to her reply. She said she hasn't looked it up yet. No, I didn't look up the slut drop yet. And then she's agreeing with me, right? I should be a Gemini. And then she's telling me that she did look at the slut drop and that twerking in that position is difficult. Okay, cool. So then I've kind of continued with the theme. If you are lucky, I will show you how it's done. Haha. So I'm sort of playfully bantering her. And then here's one of the key things that I like to use when I'm texting girls. Just to move the conversation along, which is, by the way, do you want to know what else I noticed about you? Every human being, by and large, favorite topic of conversation is themselves. They love to feel like they are a source of intrigue. This is men and women alike. So, actually, you want to know what else I noticed about you? ? Me saying this to her is always pretty much going to prompt a reply. This is like the one question where girls will always reply. Okay, so I've asked her that. And we're having this conversation on Instagram, by the way. I generally prefer Instagram these days as a medium of communication because the girl can, I've got a video on it, but I've got a short on it, but the girl can find out a lot more about you. So it's just an easier way to communicate in between dates. And the other good thing about Instagram as well, every time you post a story, it effectively acts as a ping message that goes out to all your followers. What that means by using the word ping, I mean, rather than having to message a girl individually like you would on WhatsApp or phone number, every time you post a story, which is a disappearing 24-hour content, any girl that you've recently added will see that story and she's been notified and gets to know what you're up to. So it's like a form of communication in a sense. But anyway, so this is why I normally exchange Instagram these days. And I recommend you guys as well, if you're watching it, even if you're older, 40s, 50s, get yourself on Instagram, learn how to do it properly. Right, quick interruption in the kitchen of dreams. That is my kitchen. Just a little reminder to, if you're enjoying the video so far, to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, subscribe to the channel, help this baby grow. Let's help as many guys out there as we can. And in doing so, you'll be helping me, which means I can help you. And in the background, just over there, that is a creatine for the gains, because the gym gains are important as well. All right, back to the video. She said, regarding me showing her how to twerk, she goes, "Deal, I'm curious about your twerking skills." It's funny, right? And then she, of course, she's curious. When I say, "Do you want to know what I noticed about you?" She says, "What?" ? Wink. So this is the funny thing on Instagram. Sometimes, or even on WhatsApp, you'll end up talking about two things at the same time. So now we're talking about my twerking skills and what I noticed about her. Okay, so again, I had to think of a witty reply. So I asked a friend of mine, like, what would you say to this? And this is a useful skill as well with texting, is if you're stuck and you have a friend that's good at texting, ask him, have a little look. And funny enough, just by asking him, I came up with the line. Like, it's funny. And my twerking is like a fine wine. It's an acquired taste. So what I'm also doing, I'm making it sound like mysterious, but I'm also kind of letting myself off the hook. In terms of, do I know how to twerk? Maybe. Not really. So, and then what was the thing that I noticed about her? I've only seen one person change topics as fast as me, and that's you. And then I put the Gemini emoji, which is the thing we have in common. And what I'm doing is it's kind of a push-pull here. So on one hand, I'm saying, by the way, you change topics all the time. You're hard to follow, right? Which is almost like an insult. But on the other hand, I'm saying I've only seen one person that has the ability to change topics as fast as me, and that's you, which is a compliment. So I'm giving her a push-pull. And then she goes, haha, my brain works fast. And then this is a great line to start to transition into a date request. So I said, haha, speaking of, I have a fun idea if you want to hear it. Now, linguistically, when she says my brain works fast, there isn't really anything that I'm speaking of that relates to her sentence that is a reason to transition to a date request. It's just that line is very, very smooth. Speaking of, I have a fun idea if you want to hear it. Implying that because she said this, you're saying that. Even if that's not the case, it doesn't really matter. She goes, sure. She's warm at this point. Exclamation mark. She's giving positive responses. So when we met, she was trying to find a charge cable for her phone. And I said, we should celebrate you getting a new charge cable for your phone, of course. If you can find a reason to invite her out rather than, do you want to go out for a drink with me? But a reason why you should, that's somehow a shared reason, it makes it so much more fun. We should celebrate you getting a new charge cable for your phone. That sounds fun, right? And it's funny as well. Was thinking we could grab a drink tonight or tomorrow. Seize the bull by the horns, so to speak. One thing to remember when you're texting girls is that when you meet them, you'll be potentially the bright new shiny object in their minds, but that feeling will dim over time, and it may dim quite quickly. So you want to retain top of mind awareness in the girl's mind. Ideally, you want to get her out for a date as soon as possible. A lot of times, a big mistake guys will make with texting is like waiting days between texts. Dude, she's going to lose interest. Or if she likes you, she's going to be like, why are you taking so long to reply? Get on it as quick as possible and get her out as quick as possible while the feeling or her buying temperature is at its highest. All right. So I was thinking we could grab a drink tonight or tomorrow. And then she tells me something about what happened with her charge cable. And then she says, I don't do alcohol. This is really important to notice here. This is a push. So what a push is when a girl, essentially she's not saying, yes, take me out, I'd love that, where is the place? She's actually offering up resistance. So a push is when a girl offers resistance. Now it's really, really important to notice when a girl pushes, because the worst thing you can do when she pushes is to pull. So if she says, I don't do alcohol, then it could work, right? Because I think the girl is quite warm where you go, okay, I know a place that sells alcohol-free cocktails. But if you look at it, energetically, she's pushed and she's saying, that won't work. So what you want to do ideally is agree and amplify what she's just said, as in repeat what she's just said, but make it even bigger. And that shows that you're not emotionally offended or desperate in any way. Or you can just kind of swiftly move on, or you can push back. So if you look at my example, she says, I don't do alcohol. I've said even better, because if a girl doesn't need to drink on a date, perfect. Neither of us have to have hangovers. Brilliant. I said even better. And then going back to her other point about the charge cable, she said she had a story about it, a funny story. I said, okay, I want to hear this story. Essentially, it comes off emotionally non-reactive. I haven't responded to the push with a pull. And this is a really important thing to notice, guys, when you're texting girls. Are they pushing or are they pulling? A lot of times guys will respond to pushes with pulls. The girl says, I can't meet tonight. And the guy goes, what about tomorrow? The girl has pushed, the guy's pulled. In the better response would be, I can't meet tonight. And then you reply, aha, so you're giving me a night off then, implying that you're always out and you're actually grateful for it. And then since I've since I've kind of agreed and amplified, let's say, I've said even better when she says she doesn't drink alcohol. She responds to that, do you have another fun idea? Now she's pulling. Energetically, she's felt me that I haven't kind of become emotionally reactive. And the great thing is, when a girl pushes, she's sort of issuing a challenge. And if you can pass the challenge, it's likely that her attraction will raise up a little bit. So now she's saying, do you have another fun idea? I say always, wink, but I don't say anything else. She's keen for me to answer. Haha, so? Question mark. We can go to one of my favorite bars for evening coffee. They do decaf, I think. And then I spelt bars wrong, so I've just corrected that. Well, I put it as the singular, not the plural. Come on, I love coffee with caffeine. We could eat something. Wink. Now I try not to eat on first dates with girls. The reason being because it's not romantic, right? The girl's chewing food in front of you. It's, there's too many variables. The waiter might get in your way. There's many variables that you've got to juggle. Plus, generally, I find it's not a good idea to take girls out on dinner dates. They can get expensive. And then you just kind of fall into this provider frame. I'd much rather buy a girl dinner after we've been physically intimate with each other. Then I can justify spending that type of money on her. Because realistically, if you want to have dating abundance, you're going to need to go on a lot of dates. And even if you've got the money, this is an important thing. Even if you've got plenty of money to go out and buy girls dinners, you will still come across as a provider rather than that kind of exciting, risque guy. So I just ignore that we could eat something. But she proposes a day. What about Saturday? That's very, very good. And then I tell her how I quit caffeine. She's saying she couldn't. And then we get into a bit of banter about that, which is great because we're kind of glossing over the fact that she suggested dinner. We're having some banter back and forth. She says it would be a tremendous sacrifice to give up caffeine. And then I use that to kind of what I call an us frame. So an us frame is when it's like you talk about something that you have in common. And an us frame will help you, the both of you, see you two together, if that makes sense. So a very, very subtle us frame. When I say sacrifice, another deep topic, lol, implying that we've discussed deep topics already. Then I send her a meme. It's a funny meme about let's get to know each other, and it's got like a pinwheel of different deep topics. And then at this point, I tell her, okay, keep Saturday afternoon free. I'll share plans with you when I finish work. It's important to tell them sometimes. So a few very, very subtle things there. She suggested Saturday. Saturday evening, of course, is the most valuable time in anyone's diary for most people. That's when you can either go out and meet new girls, or you'll spend time with your friends, or you'll do some kind of activity. So I've specifically said keep Saturday afternoon free. I'm not just going to sacrifice my Saturday evening. And whether she knows that or doesn't know that, it will come across probably subliminally. I don't just give away my Saturday evening just because I met some cute girl. And then I'll share plans with you when I finish work. I'll share plans with you when I finish work is indeterminate time. Presumably she'll be excited to hear the plan, and I will retain top of mind awareness for a few more hours. She'll be curious. Girls love surprises. And the wait, the longer the wait, the sweeter the reward, right? So to which she responds to my meme that's got all these different things on it, like numerology, astrology, magic, memes. And she goes, you forgot childhood trauma. And I say, I'll share plans with you when I finish work. To which she says, okay, smile face. The key takeaways really are to understand when she's pushing and pulling. and to respond accordingly. You want your opener to be like flirty but not sexually overt, that reminds her of when you first met. So guys, one more thing, if you enjoyed the channel, then please subscribe to the channel. That will really help the channel grow. Like the video and leave a comment. All of those things boost the algorithm, which means we can help more guys. And if you have any questions about your dating life, your texting, or you want to do some in-person coaching with me, or online coaching, or even have a consultation call, you can email me at info@divorcetodates.com. All right, guys, I will leave it there.